Hello everybody, it's Lamorna here. We have been trying a couple of times now to get myself and Claudia onto the same video and it's not working, so we're going to try and do it this way round instead. So I hope you can all hear me. If you can give me a couple of likes, a couple of hearts, no smiley faces, that would be awesome. Let's see if I can add Claudia at least. There we go. Okay, cool. So I am going to start with, I've got a list of questions here that some of you have submitted to me already. I'm going to work my way through them. Please feel free to add more questions as we go along, and if we've got time, I will answer them too. And if we don't, then I will send you a personal message or reply to the post later on. Okay, so just checking. Okay, cool. All right, so the first question that I have got, they may be in a bit of a different order to what you were talking about before. So starvation mode, there is a lot of talk about this and there's a lot of confusion. So first of all, let's just put this out there. If starvation mode really existed, then we wouldn't have people in Africa starving away, would we? So what the confusion a lot exists is because of the reduction, and what people think of it is the reduction in metabolic system. Also, we also need to think about your NEAT. Now, many of you may have come across NEAT before, may not have, and this stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is any exercise or activity that you're doing outside of your exercise or your fitness routine. So it could be walking up the stairs, it could be doing the dishes, or using the lawnmower. Okay. Now, when we lose weight, it's because we are in a calorie deficit, and much of the time, this we will always come back to this argument. There's scientific studies proven over and over again. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about quality of foods, but for now, let's just talk about the calorie deficit. Now, if you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. If you're in a higher calorie deficit, you will lose more weight compared to somebody who is in a less of a calorie deficit. However, to create more of a calorie deficit, we can also add in more NEAT or more exercise. Okay, so that's why sometimes people compare themselves to their friends, for example, when they say, oh, she can eat anything she wants, she never seems to put on weight. Well, no, that person isn't necessarily not putting on weight if you're eating the same as them. It's just that they are increasing their NEAT or their exercise, and so burning more calories. So therefore, that's why they're not putting weight on, and maybe you are. All right. So I'm just checking my notes because I've got my little notes here to make sure I don't miss anything. That's it. Yeah. And also, if you lower your calories, it doesn't mean your body holds on to fat. All right. That's really important as well. So the main thing about weight loss here is that we need to keep a deficit, and we need to increase our NEAT and increase ideally our exercise as well, which then makes us into a calorie deficit, which equals weight loss. Now, we do want to keep that balance and find that balance where we are in a comfortable deficit compared to where we're like really starving and unhappily too much of a deficit. The other thing that being in too much of a deficit or trying to be in too much of a deficit can cause is that you won't adhere to it. So you may be thinking, right, I'm not eating very much, I really want to lose weight, I've got that wedding dress to get into. However, on the side, you might have a few crisps here, you might have a few biscuits there, and actually all those things add up and therefore put you in not as much of a calorie deficit that you may think that you are. All right, let's move on from that. Any questions, please do comment as we go through. All right, this is a nice short one. Does it matter if you have white or wholemeal bread products? So this depends on your goals, really. I enjoy both as part of balanced diets. And if you enjoy white bread, great. If you enjoy wholemeal bread, great. Now, yes, you are going to get some nutritional benefits from eating wholemeal bread, mainly the fibre amount. Now, fibre is... it sounds a bit boring, doesn't it? Let's not kid. Fibre sounds like something Granny needs to have more of, not you. But actually, it's really important for our intestinal and our gut health, and it helps us to feel fuller because it bulks out the foods that we're eating. It helps the body to process the carbohydrates and the and the protein that we're eating. So, and the micronutrients, all those vitamins and minerals. As well as keeping us nice and regular. That's also important. Again, not a very sexy subject, but hey ho. We all go to the toilet. So fibre is really important, and you are going to get a lot more fibre from your wholemeal bread products. So just to give you a little comparison, per 100 grams, white bread is only going to give you about 1.5 grams of fibre compared to brown bread, which is about 6 grams. And if you like your dark rye bread, like the German type bread, that's a whopping 15 grams of fibre. Ideally, you should be aiming for about 30 grams of fibre per day. Most of this you are going to get from things like wholemeal bread products, but also your fruits and veggies too. All right, moving on. Okay, is it about energy balance and what you eat is secondary? So I think this person is talking about weight loss. I don't have the person's name who asked this question, but Claudia, maybe you could post them or tag them as we go through these, because you've got the names. So as I kind of referred to at the beginning, we were talking about metabolism and the good old starvation mode. Yes, the primary thing we want to be looking at when we're looking at weight loss is your calorie amount. Secondary, we need to look at macro amount. So that's our proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Thirdly, we need to look at our micronutrients and our hydration, our water levels. Fourthly is our nutrient timing. So when are we having our meals? And lastly, any kind of supplementation. So that's the order that we want to look at. And actually that's it's almost so simple. It's people try and overcomplicate it. You can, if you want to, eat McDonald's and still lose weight. Now, it's not going to be very good for you. You're not going to feel great on it. Oh, okay, cool. You're not going to feel great on it, but you'll still be in a calorie deficit, so you'll still lose weight. The best way to go for that calorie deficit, I mean, yes, we need to understand what our calorie BMR, basal metabolic rate is, so our resting metabolic rate is, and there's different ways we can calculate that depending on how we look at your weight and we look at your activity levels. And then if you want to lose weight, we take an amount of calories off that. Now we can do that for a daily basis, so you can subtract an amount and say, right, that's the calorie amount I'm going to aim for every single day. Or we're going to come to this a little bit later when we talk about alcohol. We can adjust that calorie amount throughout the week to take into consideration any special occasions we've got coming up, any parties, nights out, when we know we're going to be having days when we're going to be eating more calories or consuming more calories in the form of drinks, alcohol, at McDonald's, or whatever it might be. But yes, energy balance is calories in versus calories out. That is the main equation. That's all. So many studies, and I have got lots of studies I will always refer back to in terms of anybody that's interested in knowing where this information is coming from. It's not me just kind of making this stuff up off the top of my head. So always calories, then your macros, then your micronutrients, water, nutrient timing, and then supplements after. Okay, all right, so far so good. Excellent. Next question I have got is foods and supplements are good for joints and bones, helping to speed up healing if there are already some issues. So the main thing we are going to be looking at are your fish oils, really good for you. Vitamin D, calcium is really important for your joints and bones. There was a study that has been looked at, but I wouldn't be probably recommending this to clients at the moment. And that was a study on a product which is called collagen hydrolysate. There you go, put my teeth in that one. And that was a study that was a 24-week duration study looked at with some athletes. So at the moment, the jury's still out on that one. But if you go for fish oils, vitamin D, and good sources of calcium, Those are the proven ones that we can go towards. Again, I've got studies referring back to these if anyone is interested in a little bit more science or understanding where this information is coming from. Cool. So again, another fairly simple one. Right. Let's go for the next one. What can you eat when you have long days at a computer and you need a snack to keep you from boredom and help with the 3 p.m. sugar low? So there's two this kind of question splits down actually into two parts. So let's talk about eating and boredom, because this is very different to this sort of sugar low and snacking. So I have I have a whole week in my 12-week course where we talk about bad eating habits, and eating for boredom is one of the 5 bad eating habits. Oh, there you go, Sarah. So eating for boredom, it sort of says it all, is it? What I would suggest you do is look at your triggers. Is there a specific time of day that you are turning to food to get away from this boredom? Is it that mid-morning you are having your cup of tea and you're like, oh, I've got to go back to work. Oh, I know. I'll just make myself a quick bit of toast, or I'll just go and grab a few biscuits, or I'll just pop out and grab that packet of crisps, whatever it is. Again, same goes to the afternoon. So look for your triggers. Is it a certain time of day, or is it a certain event? So is it that you get back in from lunch, your lunch break, and it is always your habit to then have a chocolate bar with a cup of coffee, for example? Is it that you end up, you have a certain phone call and you always end up thinking, oh, what a nightmare. I know, I'll just go and have a quick snack because I just want to get away from the computer. All right, so understanding your triggers, really important. And this is really common for many of the eating habits that we can cover. Nobody wants to eat for boredom. We want to eat for enjoyment, and we want to eat for nutrition or for like a social thing. If we're eating for boredom, we're not even going to be understanding or acknowledging the food that we're taking in. So if you understand your trigger, that's the first point. Then we can move on and we can understand what we can do instead. So is it boredom? Have you got 5 minutes and you just end up eating because you've got 5 minutes to eat? Okay, do something else with that 5 minutes. Look at the news, call your mum, go for a quick walk, go to the loo and freshen up, brush your hair, do your makeup, whatever it is, and replace that food habit with something else, because this is all it is. It's a habit that you're eating at a certain time of day, or you're eating because you're bored. So that's what I suggest. Don't try just not eating if that's something you do regularly at a certain time of day or after a certain event. It's much easier to change a habit to something else rather than to stop habit completely. So think about what you can do instead. So that's kind of eating for boredom. In the afternoons, it's really common, especially if you're having a higher carbohydrate lunch, and this goes for breakfast as well. If you're having quite a high carb breakfast, to suffer from something called postprandial somnolence, and this is when we get that kind of low energy, that sleepy feeling after eating. Now, there's ways that you can improve on this. You can try and eat more protein at breakfast, or in this case at lunchtime. That will help with that afternoon slump. And also go for some high protein snacks. That will also improve your satiety. So protein has been shown to improve satiation. So that means eating protein helps you to feel fuller for longer. So if you are getting to work and you've had your breakfast, and again by 10 o'clock you are starving hungry and that tummy is rumbling, have a think, are you including any kind of protein in your breakfast? Breakfast is a kind of harder one to include protein in, but there are ways you can do it with eggs. You can make something like overnight oats and put in a scoop of protein powder. And there's nothing wrong with protein powder. I know, not one of the questions, but protein powder is whey. Whey is a byproduct of milk. So if you remember the nursery rhyme, she was eating her curds and whey, and it is a really complete source of protein that can contain all these essential amino acids that are vital for our health. So just think of it as a really enriched food source, if you like. Good quality weighs about 100 calories to 1 scoop, and that's a whole portion. So if you don't really fancy chugging down a tin of tuna at breakfast, or a chicken breast, or 3 or 4 eggs, then a protein shake is a really absolutely fine alternative. And you can mix it with water, so it's minimal calories as well, and you can even have chocolate ones as well. And this actually leads on to this sort of chocolate bar question, I think, that I had in terms of what you do about chocolate and sweet cravings. Try and first of all go back to that habit question earlier. What is causing your trigger to the habit, the sweet or the chocolate cravings? And then see if you can replace it with something else. So something like a chocolate protein shake is a really easy replacement for a chocolate bar, a lot less calories, a lot better for you. There's also, yeah, who doesn't want chicken breast for breakfast? There's also a lot of protein bars out there now on the market that you can try. Lots of different flavors. There are 3 really good ones: Grenade, Carb Killer, and Quest. Loads of different flavors. And what some people like to do, some of my clients, they like to actually, because they find them quite sweet or quite rich, cut them in half or cut them into thirds and wrap them up. And then when they want that sweet fix, then that protein bar is there for them. And then they can eat that guilt-free. And who doesn't want to eat chocolate guilt-free? Okay, so that's the next question. Best thing to stop for cravings and sweet things and chocolate. Okay, so other things that you can include for when you're having these cravings for sweet things or chocolate. Something like a hot chocolate drink. I know it's not quite the same, like an options drink. We talked about the protein bars. If you're desperate, you really fancy to have a chocolate bar, and you think, oh, I'm going to have this and then feel guilty, you can plan ahead for it. And this goes the same for when you're eating out for dinners or takeaways. Plan ahead. So you know that chocolate bar is going to be high in fat and high in carbohydrates, i.e. sugars. What else are you eating that day? Do you want to take away some of the calories from the other foods, the kind of more real foods that you're eating that day, and then give them to that chocolate bar? Now, you may think, oh, that's not actually worth it. Or you may think, yes, it is. But then again, as long as you're maintaining that calorie deficit, you can still enjoy that chocolate bar. Like we were talking about losing weight just by eating McDonald's. It's not going to be that nutritionally good for you, but it will, you can enjoy it as part of a balanced diet. And yes, you're not going to want to do that every day, but how lovely to be able to work that in to your day if you do actually fancy that. Again, depends on your goals, depends on your timescales, but there are ways of fitting these things in to your diet without feeling that you've completely thrown the whole thing out the window and you're just going to give up. Oh, I've eaten the chocolate bar, I might as well just, next year I'll try again. Okay, then you can do it. Okay, let's just check the comments. There you go, Natasha. Okay, so what's a natural supplement to suppress alcohol? Okay, so I haven't actually, I don't have all of the answers. I do like to think that I have a lot of answers, or I know where to get them. Being an evidence-based practitioner, I don't make things up. I look to science and also my personal experience with clients as well. But I haven't actually come across anything that will suppress your alcohol desire. So sorry about that, but I do have some ideas for you. Now, let's just understand alcohol a little bit more. Nearly all of us will enjoy a drink from time to time. And again, like the chocolate bar, there's nothing wrong with that as part of a healthy, balanced diet. I'm not going to start talking about alcohol units because, to be honest, not many of us really understand what they are. You know, how many units is in a pint of lager or a glass of wine or a bottle of wine? Maybe that might be you on a Friday night. I don't know. I can tell you about alcohol. So it's almost like the fourth macronutrient. So in our diet we have things called macronutrients, and these are the big pieces of the building blocks of what we're eating: carbohydrates, fats, and protein. everything we eat or drink is made up of one or more of these 3 macronutrients. Alcohol is like the 4th. So when we're looking at the amounts of calories per gram in these things, carbohydrates and proteins both contain 4 calories per gram. Fats, we know things that we eat that are fatty are calorie dense. There's very high amount of calories squashed into a small amount of food. They're 9 calories per gram. Now, alcohol is 7. So yes, we do need to consider the calories that we take in with the alcohol that we're drinking. They're empty calories. They're not really giving us any kind of nutritional value, and they're liquid, so they don't even fill us up. But we do enjoy a drink, don't we? So let's figure that out. Just to give you, it's try and educate yourself on the amount of calories in your favourite drinks. So I've got a few here. A small glass of Prosecco, 90 calories. A pint of lager is 230. A large glass of red is 240. And a large Baileys is 330 calories. And again, those amounts will not mean anything to you if you don't understand the amount of calories that your body needs on a daily basis, or therefore what calorie deficit you want to put yourself into if you are looking to lose weight. So it's important to understand both of these. The other really annoying thing about alcohol, and I think we have all been here, is what happens towards the end of a night out. Okay, you're out with your partner, friends, the girls. You get a bit snackish, don't you? It might mean you stop for a cheeky kebab on the way home, maybe. I've been there. We've all done it. Not recently, I have to say. It might be you get home and you just start craving cheese on toast. Okay. So not only are the calories we're taking in from the actual alcohol, we're also taking in some calories because we're snacking. There's the next day. We're hungover. We're dehydrated. We're not going to be going out for that 3-mile run. We're not going to be going out if we're hungover to the gym to do the exercise class. So we're going to be reducing the amount of calories that we're burning in terms of physical activity because we're sat at home feeling sorry for ourselves. And then what happens? Do we make ourselves a lovely fresh fruit salad when we're hungover? No. We want a fry up. We want the toast. We want the comfort food, like the highly palatable, high fat, high carbohydrate food. That's actually not going to help us feel that much better. So that's kind of the thing with alcohol. If you do obviously feel that you need to suppress your desire for alcohol, then it may be worth going to speak to your GP. Obviously lots of us get to that 6 p.m. I've got lots of friends who get to that 6 p.m. when at the end of the day, 7 p.m. the kids have been a nightmare. They've had a nightmare day at work, and they are waiting for that clock to tick past the hour so they can justify pouring that glass of Pinot or Sauvignon Blanc. So maybe some of you like that too. If you find that you have got an issue that you kind of have to have that, then yes, maybe going to speak to your GP is a good idea. Now, I think that's all of the questions that I've got. Have I covered them all, Claudia? I kind of feel like I've rushed through some of them and laboured on some of the others. I've probably missed out a whole page. Any other questions? I've also realised that I didn't actually introduce myself because we changed the plan. I have answered the questions. Excellent. So if you'd like to learn more about nutrition, so my background, actually, I didn't come into this as a career. I changed career in my early 30s. I turned 36 recently. So go for the mid 30s, and I was in IT security for a long time. I keep touching my ear because my earpiece keeps falling out. I was in IT security, but selling firewalls left my soul pretty empty, and you can only sort of be passionate about these things for so long. And so I had a bit of a career change, and I trained to become a personal trainer because I like helping people. And one thing that I did enjoy about the firewalls was I quite liked teaching other people about how good these firewalls were and helping them to sell more. And so I had a little bit of an awakening and an early midlife crisis, and I went through some depression, but I did find my new job. And I am now living in France, in Courchevel. And this summer I was living in Zakynthos, which is a beautiful Greek island. Some of you may know it as Zante, but I was on the nice part, not the horrible part. And now I run a nutrition and fitness business called Lamorna Fitness, or Lamorna Nutrition. And this autumn I launched Nutrition for Life, which is a 12-week program helping women to lose weight, get more energy, and just be healthier. The women who have been on the intake so far have lost. I've got one lady who's lost nearly 2 stone. I've got another lady who's lost 1 stone. It's not just about the weight. I've got Kate, who's got a lot more energy. She was struggling because she was running around after her 2-year-old who didn't nap as much as she used to, and she was really struggling with that. I've got mums with 2-3 kids. I've got career women in the group as well. And the way it works is we work through 12 weeks of different subjects, ranging from your sciencey bits to your habits, and it's all about getting really good results in a way that works for you. So I've got one lady who's starting in my group tomorrow. She is getting married. I got married last year, very exciting, and she is I expect she's going to be choosing a method that is going to be suiting her in terms of not a more radical approach, but probably an approach that takes a bit more time and work to get fast, quick results. And you can lose weight fast. There's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of what we do after we've lost the weight that we need to take into consideration. I've got other ladies, they don't want to go through diet plans. They don't want lists of kind of things that you have to measure out. And I don't do diet plans, by the way, none of that. Because at the end of the diet, what happens? You chuck it out the window. You rejoice that you never have to eat another dried up piece of cod again. You always have a large glass of wine, a piece of cake, and enjoy. And then the weight starts going back on. So this is all about learning how to eat for you and choosing the methods that I give you that will work for you. And we have fortnightly phone calls, and we have this great group WhatsApp and Facebook and emails, and it's about 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes a day is all you need to dedicate towards it. So low time but high in terms of results, which is what I like. Thank you. So yeah, a bit of a career change, and also living abroad here as well. If anyone would like to try and practice their French with me, I would love that. Mine's pretty bad at the moment, but I am trying to improve on that. And then next year we are looking to move again in April. So that's me. Any other questions? Nope. Well, in that case, I would like to thank Claudia very much for inviting me on today. I would love to answer any more of your questions, but if you didn't get onto this live, or you'd like to personally message me, or post them on the group, and quite often everybody has the same questions over and over again. Thank you, Claudia. So please feel free to get in touch. I'm more than happy to give some free advice, or if you want to get on a call with me for the Happy Women Network, I would love to speak to some of you guys. Free advice. It is a time of year that many of you are looking to do diets, crash diets, cleanses, detoxes. There's all sorts of things being banded out. If you do want to know more about them, and if they should or shouldn't be useful for you, I'm more than happy to give you an honest and impartial point of view. And you can't say fairer than that. Free advice. There you go. It might. I'm really happy to have been here. Thank you, Claudia. I will wrap it up there. And yes, under half an hour. Amazing. All right. Hope to speak to some of you soon. And check out my page, Lamorna Nutrition and Fitness. And give me a like. I am coming up towards the 1,000 likes. So if you can help me get towards there, that would be amazing. All right. Take care, all of you.